He's not having a season power-wise that he had last season, and that's why I don't think the Astros are going to have to give away top prospects for Pete Alonso. I really don't. Pete Alonso at the trade deadline will probably have between 22 and 26 home runs. He's still one of those better power hitters right now in baseball. Power is not easy to find. The Astros are going to need that power, especially if they get into the playoffs and you got to play the Yankees, you got to play one of these teams, the Baltimore Orioles, or even maybe the Texas Rangers last year that put up, they put up and shut a lot of people up with the power in their lineup. So I think that the Astros are going to make a big splash. Everything they can. They have a very good farm system. They have one of the better farm systems in baseball, top 10. And they're still expected to be a playoff contending team. Now, I don't know what the Mets are going to get for Pete Alonso, but I know that Pete Alonso is going. They're not re-signing him. They're not paying him $250 million. Some people think he's not even worth $180 million on the market next year. And having the season that he's having this year, he's definitely not going to get paid the money that he thought he was going to make. So that's why I think the Mets should hold on to him. Because if the Mets plan to get Juan Soto, you can still keep Pete Alonso. You could still pay Pete Alonso $150-160 million. You make him happy, even though he might not be as happy as you thought he was going to be going into the season for the season that he had last year. And you can still bring in Juan Soto, pay Juan Soto $650 million. You're still going to keep it under $1 billion, and you could probably get a pitcher for $150 million and keep it at $1 billion. You could get 3 players, your own player, Juan Soto, and a pitcher next year. And the way they're pitching right now, they really only need one pitcher as far as I'm concerned. If Senga comes back and he's 100% healthy, and you can be a contender next year. I honestly, the National League is weak. There's only, I think the National League is really 5 teams deep, just like the American League. There's really only 10 good teams in the major leagues. 10. That's it. For the rest of the league, they're subpar teams at best, and a lot of these teams are going to be sellers, not buyers. This is a good move right now for the Mets to sit put and let Pete Alonso have the season that he's having right now, even if he hits 35 home runs and gives you 100 RBIs. That's an off season as far as I'm concerned. That's not going to, especially if you're batting 239, it might be even lower, maybe 220.
Yeah.
If you're batting,
he's not having the on base a year either.
No, he's having a worse season that he's having from last year. Now, his second half could be unbelievable, and he could put up 45 home runs. If he does that, well, then Pete Alonso is going to get the money. But if he hits under 40 home runs this year, and his batting average is in the 230s, 220s, he's not getting that money. And the Mets are going to sit there and they're going to win in this offseason because they can still re-sign Pete Alonso. They can go after Juan Soto and go after Burns if they really want. Now, Burns is going to be expecting a $300 million. But still, if you pay Burns the $300 million and we've seen Uncle Stevie pay billions and billions of dollars. He's already spent almost $2 billion on players, and they've all failed. If you really want to do this, you could trade Nimmo in the offseason. You could take that off your cap, and you could still pay Pete Alonso. You can still pay Juan Soto, and you can still pay Burns. You got 3 guys that are your future, and you can now you have the farm system where you can sit on and expect those guys to develop. And if they do, the Mets they're going to be a contender for the next 5 to 6 years. I think the Mets should sit put and keep Pete Alonso on this roster for their run because they're making the playoffs. I think the National League is so bad. If the Mets keep playing and Mendoza keeps managing the way they are, they have a very good chance of making the playoffs the way the National League is set up. Right now, stick to Pete Alonso, stay put, and hope that Pete Alonso figures things out. If he doesn't figure things out, I'd still keep him. Wait until the offseason and decide what you're going to do with him after. That's what I think I would do. Pete Alonso, if he's having the year that he's having right now and it continues this way, you're going to get him on the cheap. Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going to win on this. And you're going to win on and I do believe Juan Soto is going to become available. I do believe he's going to be available, and the Mets are going to make a big run for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Mets. I wouldn't be surprised because I know he's Francisco Lindor's good friend, and Francisco Lindor is actually playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. So, and if Juan Soto is watching right now, the collapse of the New York Yankees, the Yankees are collapsing right now. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm not worried about the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division. I still think they could win the division. I think Brian Cashman's going to have to make some moves to help out that bullpen. That bullpen is in a lot of they're not healthy. And I think that Brian Cashman needs to figure out and add a new bat in that lineup. I think they need another bat in that lineup. The way Rizzo is hitting, I know Rice is really filling in very, very well, but you can't depend on a rookie to go throughout this season and expect to put up the numbers he's putting up right now.
They should still leave him up, though, even when Rizzo comes back.
They are. Yeah. They're going to keep him up. He's got a good eye for the ball, but you need to bring in another bat. You need to bring in another power bat where it can help out if Juan Soto's not hitting. Right tonight, he was 2 for 3, a double and a solo home run. He's 22nd of the night, and then 22nd of the year. And then you have Judge is hitting, but the only two people that are hitting is Judge and Soto. And if they're the only ones hitting, you're going to have a problem on the, in the beginning of that lineup and at the end of the lineup. You need something that's going to fix that lineup. And Verdugo has been opening his mouth over and over and over again for the last couple of weeks, saying what he feels and what he thinks. I think Verdugo needs to shut his mouth and just play the game. This isn't Boston. This is New York. And if you're not winning, you're not putting up numbers. What are they going to do? They're going to boo and they're going to throw things at you. So just keep your 2 cents to yourself. I think the game right now for the Yankees has to become small ball again. Last year, they did a very, very good job of that when they couldn't. Besides Aaron Judge, they couldn't hit for power. I think they need to come back with that. I think they need to steal more bases. They need to use some of their strengths and stop, putting out, these players that are not hitting for average right now, or start to transition. If the lineup isn't working with somebody in the outfield and I'm going to say this, Giancarlo Stanton plays a big part and a big factor of this. The lineup was doing so much better when he was in the lineup, because if you're protecting against Aaron Judge, you can't protect against Soto. You can't protect against Giancarlo Stanton. You're going to have to pitch to one of these guys. And that gives them a more opportunity to hit for more power and more home runs, which gives them a chance to win if their pitchers aren't pitching well. So I think that it's very, very important, and I repeat this, that Giancarlo Stanton comes back from this injury and he's 100% healthy on the second end of the season. So I think that means a lot more for the Yankees than anything. Hold on to Pete Alonso and ride it out for the season, and then see what you're going to get, or what you're going to give him in the offseason, or what you're going to get for him if you decide to let him go.